So here's my question. Is it okay to tell a lie as long as it's in a movie? Does that no longer make it a lie? Mm. Hello, YouTubers. My name is Sam Robinson, and welcome to the Black Reviewer's Perspective. I appreciate you tuning in. If you like what you see here, please hit the like button, and maybe subscribe. Now, today I planned on doing a small video about my 10 favorite anime in order to introduce those of you who are currently watching this review who've never seen anime to maybe pick up one or two that are worth trying. However, I scrapped that idea, or rather I pushed it to the side when I watched the subject of today's film, American Sniper, which was directed by Clint Eastwood and stars Bradley Cooper, is a semi-pseudo autobiography, or I'm sorry, a biopic about the life of Chris Kyle. He took part in 4 tours during the Iraq War as a SEAL sniper, and has the highest kill rate, or highest recorded kill rate of any sniper in U.S. history. And he was tragically killed in Texas when he was at a range attempting to help another vet who was a victim of post-traumatic stress syndrome, or PTSD. I'm very conflicted about this movie, how to feel about it. There's a lot of talk about how much we should separate, a work from either its source material or a particular movie from its director. And you should, a lot of people say, well, you should judge a movie based on its own merits. You should just judge it as what it is, as a film. And that's very hard to do. Actually, I think that it's rather impossible, because it all feeds off of each other. You can't separate a director from its work, from their work, because what they believe in life and the experience that they have, that directly influences what you see on the screen. It tells them, however subconsciously, how they should film certain scenes, how they should direct action, how they should direct dialogue, or what they want in their scripts. And the same thing for source material. You can't say, well, we're going to make a movie about 9/11 and the destruction of the Twin Towers and take a fantastical spin on it. It's you can't deviate from that source material, not in that way. This isn't a comic book where you can change things up to your liking. It's a story that's based on real life, something that actually happened, a person that actually lived. Biopics don't have that type of left-right deviation. As a military veteran myself, and a combatant in the Iraq War, I feel like I should give American Sniper some manner of leniency for some of the things that I've found out about it since watching, or but I just can't. I don't think it would be very disingenuous of me if I did that. The fact of the matter is that while American Sniper is a competent movie, within its own right. Nothing technically wrong with it. The soundtrack is good. The direction, even though I don't too much care for Eastwood as a director, was still very. It was fairly tight. I had some issues with a lot of the time skipping within the first quarter of the film, and the way that some things were kind of strung together. I feel like a little bit more connective tissue would have helped the story flow better. It would have helped the pacing, but it's nothing that's too distraction. Nothing that'll pull you out of the movie. The acting was for the most part superb. Bradley Cooper did a fantastic job portraying the character that he was supposed to portray. And excuse me while I look at IMDb for a moment. The young lady who portrayed his wife in the film, as soon as my computer comes up and I can find her name, I'll read it off. But she did a fantastic job as well, portraying the wife of a soldier who, or a seaman in this case, who's conflicted and he's kind of torn between his family at home and his family in the sandbox. I mean, it was a decent movie, solid all the way around. However, while watching it, I couldn't help but look at some of it and say to myself, this is a little unbelievable. Like, you're always going to have some Hollywoodization when you're dealing with movie properties, regardless of what they're based on. 13 Hours was Hollywoodized, directed by the director of Transformers, Michael Bay. 13 Hours was stylized to a fault, but it still rang with a certain authenticity. You didn't look at 13 Hours and at any time not believe what you were seeing to some extent. I just could not get over the feeling that when I was watching 13 Hours, that Clint Eastwood was embellishing the story for the sake of either getting people into the theater and keeping butts in seats, or because he had a particular vision for what Kyle was and the things that he did during his 4 tours. The one thing that stood out the most to me was the character of Mustafa, who was an Iraqi sniper, kind of his nemesis. And through all 4 tours, it was like this character was specifically following and targeting him and taking out his people or his convoys or the men he was supposed to be protecting or the teams that were supposed to be breaching houses. Anywhere where Chris Kyle was providing overwatch for a group of American soldiers, Mustafa would get a phone call from one of his many eyes out in the field, and he'd show up, grab his sniper rifle, sniper battle ensues. That's an untruth. Not so much a sniper battle, but Mustafa would kill people. Chris Kyle would feel bad because he wasn't able to save those people. There was no actual direct conflict between the 2 characters until the final act of the movie. You know, the obligatory boss battle that an action movie has to have. And that's the problem. I look at American Sniper and I see an action film, and I can't see the biopic underneath. There's a lot of controversy that surrounds this film, and it's not just, from me. And once I dug a little deeper into the story and what everything was supposed to be about, then Elise Robinson, Elise Robertson. I mean, that is who played Mrs. Kyle, Debbie Kyle, in the film. As I said before, outstanding job playing a wife trying to pull her husband away from, the throes of war and reconnecting with his family and children. But anyway, a cursory Google search of American Sniper or Chris Kyle unearths mounds of controversy surrounding the film, and not just the film, but the film's relation to the book itself. Some of the things that were written and said by Chris Kyle, the author, and and some of the things that happened with the people the people at large, the American people, and their conflicts with the Kyle estate in general. Everything from supposed lies that he's told, things such as him being lies such as the film portraying him as being tormented by the things that he did over in Iraq and conflicted about killing, and this weight that it had on his soul and on his psyche, when in his own book apparently he is quoted as saying things such as the people that he fought were savage, despicable, and evil, and he says that he only wished that he had killed more and that he loved what he did. He also went on to further say, and I quote, "If my family didn't need me, if circumstances were different, I'd be back in a heartbeat. I'm not lying or exaggerating to say it was fun. I had the time of my life being a SEAL." This is the same man who, in the movie, is portrayed as struggling when he had to kill youths who were being used to harm Americans, or, being haunted by all of the lives that he took. There are also stories that he supposedly made up, such as killing two men who tried to carjack him here in Texas. He also made up a story supposedly about killing dozens of people in post-Katrina New Orleans during looting. All types of things. He even lied about and was sued by Jesse Ventura for slander when he stated in his book that he punched him out in the bar. And yes, that Jesse Ventura, Governor Jesse Ventura. So, when I take into account all that, I can't help but look at American Sniper and see it as a very, very manipulative film at its core. And I can't help but also feel that there's, an agenda behind it, on the part of Clint Eastwood. Now, whether, this movie is supposed to be anti-war or pro-war or pro-soldier or not, or I'm not getting into all that with this particular review. But as far as my eyes go, it just feels like it's that same type of gentrification that has always happened within American history. And then when you take into account also that shortly, not too long after the death, like I said, the tragic death of Mr. Kyle, and the explosion of popularity that ensued for the American Sniper book. Not to say that the book wasn't popular beforehand, because it got him quite a bit of media coverage. He was on several talk shows. He was in Soldier Fortune magazine. The book was a big deal before the movie, but after or before his passing, but after his passing, it just kind of skyrocketed, and then the movie came out. But when I can't help but also look at the fact that, you know, if you take into account that after the movie came out and more eyes were placed on the book and the movie got Oscar nominated, all of a sudden the wife wanted to bring out a parallel book called American Wife. Whatever her motives were behind that, that within itself felt like a money-grubbing tactic. Like I said, I'm going just off of the way that things look and feel to me. Not only as a movie lover and a movie reviewer, but also just as a person. You know, I like to look at all angles of a work whenever I look at a work. But there's too much that's circling this movie for me to ignore and for me to not take into account when I'm judging this film. Unfortunately, I cannot fully judge this movie based on its own merits as a movie. However, since in the interest of being fair and impartial, I will attempt to give dual ratings for this particular film. I can't say that this will happen often, as I like to kind of toe a hard line and give a movie a solid rating. As a professional reviewer, looking at this film just on its own as a film, I can't say that it's better than 13 Hours in my opinion. 13 Hours I feel is a far superior film, and I do suggest that if you haven't seen 13 Hours, that this is the time to give Michael Bay a try. But that's a review for another day. As I said before, great score, cinematography, lighting, mood, just about everything about the movie works. Although some of the CG, the computer enhancements that they made to the film, whether it be helicopters flying overhead in some screenshots, Hellfire missiles being shot from little birds at particular targets, and then there was a particularly awful shot of a CG round being fired from Chris Kyle's rifle during a long-range shot that he was taking in order to defend American troops. It was actually surprisingly shoddy CG work. Unfortunately, it tended to take you right out of the movie when you see things like that, and that's something that I have a hard time understanding why that happened. I mean, you have Clint Eastwood, you have Bradley Cooper, you have this big Hollywood production over a property that a lot of people have eyes on and that a lot of people are kind of wanting to happen. Maybe it was just a passion project of Eastwood's, and maybe the money was there but not completely there. I don't know all the specifics, but it seems odd to me that things didn't look better than what they did. Honestly, within all rights, the movie should have looked a little cleaner. So with that in mind, as the only thing that I can actually think of as a negative, if you're a moviegoer, a movie lover, and you're interested in seeing a good war drama, then I suppose that in good conscience I could probably give this one, I'd give American Sniper a 7.5 out of 10. Keep in mind, however, that regardless of what anyone may have told you, or what the reviewers are saying, or what you think you may have gleaned from the trailers, this movie is not an action movie, at least not in the way that you may think of action. A lot of it is surprisingly toned down, dialed down just a bit. It's happening, but it doesn't feel particularly visceral or overly exciting. It's kind of a backdrop to the personal conflicts and the character study of the individual people in the work. So it's more akin to a drama than it is a solid action film, even though I said earlier that I often got the feeling that I was watching an action film. So just keep in mind that it will be a little slow. In fact, I can distinctly remember just checking my watch a couple of times saying, man, how long have I been watching this? And that's not a good thing. Now, being the person I am, being me, and as I said, with everything that's surrounding it, all the controversy, Clint Eastwood himself, who once again I do tend to take issue with as a director and as a person, but that's a separate issue. I can't see giving this more than a 5 out of 10 on that note. Probably less than that. Yeah, actually, I'm afraid I have to take that back. I give it a 4.5 out of 10. It's just too much going on with this work and the Kyle family and the Kyle estate, and it's too many unanswered questions about what type of person Kyle was himself, that I can't say that this man deserved to be lauded as much as he has been. Like I said, I'm a fellow soldier. I fought for this country just as much as the next man, but some of the things that he's quoted as saying in his own book, and like I said, with his wife kind of piggybacking with what feels to be oh, let me see how much more money I can get and let me write a book too type of thing. I can't overlook these things, you know. So, but opinions vary. You may love the film, and if you do, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Entertainment for entertainment's sake and whatnot. You know, I'm glad that you like it if you like it. I just don't. It wasn't, unfortunately, it was not my cup of tea. So, yeah. 7.5 out of 10 for the I just want to see a good movie audience, and a 4.5 out of 10 for those who look a little beyond, you know, what's just on the screen to see what's behind it, and, you know, what drives it and where your money may or may not be going. So that's that. Hopefully, you know, you enjoyed this review, and you know, I've given you at least a little bit of what you're looking for if you're trying to decide which way to swing. Hell, maybe I even kind of muddled the waters for you on this one a bit, in which case I apologize. And I also apologize, I know this video has run long. I didn't intend for this video to run as long as it has, but I do tend to be long-winded sometimes, and if I have particular feelings about something, I kind of have to get those out in order for me to give a proper, you know, overall feel for what I gleaned from what I watched. In the future, I hope to keep these videos down to around the 5-minute mark, maybe 7, outside of my car side luxury reviews, which will run the longer gambit around the 20-minute mark, mainly because I want to give a before and an after, you know, for those. If this is your first time to my channel, which it probably is, since this is my first real video, please be sure to check out my car side luxury review that I did for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation about a year ago when that movie came out. So Once again, I'm Samuel Robinson. Thank you for your time and your interest in looking at my review. If you liked it, please like the actual video, share it with others, subscribe to my channel. I will be giving out more video game reviews and movie reviews, hopefully on a weekly basis for you guys. And if you have any comments, things that you think that I could do better as a reviewer, or things that you would like for me to review to see if they're worth your money or not, just comment down below. Let me know what you want, and I will do my best to accommodate. As for right now, thank you very much. Thank you. And I'll see you next time on the Black Reviewer's Perspective.